Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Board of Sewer Commissioners meeting. Today is January the 25th, Thursday, approximately 6:30 PM. Could I have a roll call, please?
Jim Gibberti, present.
Pete Dunlop, present. Bob Scanlon, present.
Bernie Pigeon present.
Sandy Slavin.
We have everyone present, 5 commissioners. First item on the agenda is meeting minutes. It is November 30th. Motion to accept, please.
Make a motion, we accept as presented.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion, corrections? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? It's vote 500. Next is, again, meeting minutes for December 4th.
Make a
We've already
motion.
voted on it. Why, we voted in the last meeting. Do you want to vote again?
Anything that shows up on my desk shows up on the agenda. I don't know, I thought there was a problem with it.
So what do you
No,
want,
you
motion to
voted.
ratify?
No, it was on the agenda. We voted on it. The vote was 410.
Okay,
All right.
they will pass on that. Next on the agenda is minutes for December 14th.
Make a motion, they be accepted as presented.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion or corrections? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Vote 500. There are pending minutes, and she's awaiting the video.
I'm confused because I went online and I found it last week, and I told her that WCTV found it and posted it, so I don't know why it's still, I listed as waiting. And I sent her a note regarding that.
I would presume that it must be something regarding her work at the plant that perhaps she didn't have an opportunity to get to it. She only comes in Monday, Tuesday, and part-time on Friday.
It's just unfortunate it says waiting video on the agenda when the video's there. It just leads to say that WCTV didn't do their job by posting the minutes, the recording, that's all.
Okay, moving on. Section 5, we have a number of people here that are on the agenda and would like to speak or present, and we do have a lot of paperwork to go through. So if no one has any objection, I'll ask them to come up first, and we'll start with our consultant's report from Charles Lombardi, OM. Charlie, come forward, please.
Good evening, Commissioners. Do I need to press this? Okay.
State your name, please,
My
Charlie.
name is Charles W. Lombardi, CWL O&M Solutions.
Thank you. And we have your report before us. Go ahead, you have the floor, Charlie.
The second, this is the second progress report of the evaluation of business practices and organizational review. Continued with the scope of services that I provided. Several items are being addressed. We have done a lot of field work looking into, pump stations, problem areas throughout the collection system, working with the staff. And we've identified some projects that the director is supportive of. From the previous report, we are moving forward. The director has green-lighted the removal of the barrels and the totes, and we're actually going to begin that process next week. We're going to be meeting with a representative from Harvey Recycling and work out the logistics of them bringing dumpsters, loading them, and hauling them off to a site, and I believe it's going to be Westboro. There was a pilot of a mixing technology that was made available to the town. The O&M staff has embraced it and installed it in 3 different pump stations. with very good results and is recommending the purchase of 2 units to be installed in 2 pump stations that feed to the Narrows pump station with the hopes of, it will remove the grease layer and reduce the impact to the pumps at the stations that it's going to be installed at. And the plans are to maybe move them to other pump stations, including the Narrows pump station at some point. Looked into the status of smart covers that the town does own. They own 5 of them, and they have paid for the maintenance service and the cost for the signals being sent back to electronic devices. So, you know, we're talking like $35,000 to $40,000 worth of state-of-the-art equipment. 4 of the 5 are installed in recording data. One is hydrogen sulfide at Cohasset Road, a problem area for both odors and corrosion, and the other 3 are installed at designated locations recording flow and level. The director has authorized 3 O&M staff to be able to access that data. He himself can access that data, and the IT manager for the town can also access that data. And the IT manager has been very helpful in getting into the weeds when we did learn that those units were owned by the town. And there is a brand-new unit that is going to be installed at a designated location. The director is going to, have it installed somewhere within the collection system. And it looks like it can be installed by in-house staff. And we had a training session for the in-house staff, again, with selected O&M staff by the director, well-attended, and it was actually very informative, and also the IT director did attend as well. I included information on smart covers, the mixing technology, and an example of the type of data that is generated by these smart covers. The data I included is the data from the Cohasset Road smart cover that's measuring hydrogen sulfide, which is receiving flow from one of the 2 Town of Bourne pump stations. And the waste that's being delivered is creating a significant amount of atmospheric hydrogen sulfide, which is problematic because it generates odors, could be dangerous, and it did cause a lot of corrosion in that line, as 6 of the downstream manholes were lined at some point several years ago. The pipe is PVC. The director had it inspected, and it is PVC, which is resistant to the hydrogen sulfide. So the corrosion, and we are working with the town. Director, myself, and an O&M staff member has had 2 meetings with the town of Bourne and is working with the town of Bourne now to try to get them to do something at the pump station to mitigate the generation of atmospheric hydrogen sulfide at that manhole at Cohasset Road. And there's a lot of turbulence there, and when hydrogen sulfide is in an aqueous state and it's subjected to a lot of turbulence, it turns into atmospheric, like 1 milligram per liter of aqueous can turn into 300 milligrams per liter under the right conditions of atmospheric hydrogen sulfide. So we're continuing to work with the town of Bourne to get them to address the problem that's being created by the discharge from that pump station. And we're looking at you know, the vehicles, and I'm in agreement with the director, there is the need for vehicles, especially as the staff increases. There's not enough vehicles right now to transport staff on a daily basis if he has a full complement of staff. With the 10 people, I think it's 10, right? That's, and we're recommending vehicles that can carry 4 people, have towing packages and plow packages because of the variety of practices that the vehicles are used for. And I noted the stockroom, when we talked in the first progress report, we were looking at the platform as a potential area for a stockroom to be built, but what's going to happen with that area, it's going to be, you know, blown out, and additional locker space is going to be created there under the ongoing upgrades at the treatment plant, and that's a great use of that area. And they're going to use the small garage area and do some modifications with in-house staff to store equipment and materials. And it's going to include repairing the overhead doors, and it's a very good choice. It's heated, and all the work that needs to be done to make that conversion can be done by in-house staff. I noted 3 projects that O&M staff brought to my attention, and I defined them. You know, the 3 projects are the Stonebridge project, which basically is look at that pipe, which I guess a couple of years ago caused some closures of the onset beaches due to sewerage leaking out at least one point into the water. The Point Independence project, there's a sag there that's causing restriction in the pipe. It's one of the areas where there is a smart cover installed to monitor the level and the flow, and staff wants to inspect that pipe to see the impact of that sag and maybe try to find out where the debris is coming from that seems to be building up there. And the 3rd project is, I was told it's Wee Antic, and I'm told I spelt it wrong, but that's what and that is actually a force main, and we're looking at a way to maybe access that pipe from the High Bay Road side. We couldn't find an access point across the water. But that's 3 projects that have been identified and supported by the director. We're just waiting for the equipment to be available and the staff to have, and naturally the weather to contribute. So those are some of the key points that were outlined in this progress report number 2. Questions?
Questions of the staff?
The Point Independence project, so that would be downstream of the construction at the golf course?
I'm not familiar with the golf course.
Bay Point,
Bay Point.
Right across the street.
all those homes,
There's new homes going at the Bay Point
I
Golf.
think it is downstream.
Okay.
Yes, it is downstream of that. In the SAG, the entrance, entry manhole is in the parking lot. There's a snack shack at that location, and the entrance manhole is right beside that snack shack in the parking lot, and the SAG is downstream that seems to be building up the debris and causing a restriction in that pipe at certain times. I think I got it right, that it's downstream. I'm still
Just wondering if there's any connection.
in, another thing that I did mention in here is I did find out that something about the inventory of the collection system. You know, it was 65 miles of pipe, 15 and a half miles of force main collectively from the 46 pump stations in 1,920 manholes. We're still looking into the air release valves that may exist in the system, and we're doing research on that, but I haven't been able to determine exactly how many, but staff has been diligent and has found like 3 or 4 existing ARVs in the system that appear to need some work. And the director is going to move forward and deal with the ARVs as we find them and continue to determine how many exist throughout the system. So, and I did some calculations based on my understanding of how long it's going to take to inspect 32 and a half miles of pipe, because the goal is to do half of the system a year, so that's 32 and a half miles of pipe, and it's 860 manholes, and I don't know yet how many ARVs that can be looked at, and once I get an idea of how long the force mains are, what diameters, what's their diameter, and what's the material, we can come up with ways that maybe we can evaluate those force mains. So I did want to include that in this report, because I believe those numbers to be true. Those 65 miles and 1,920 manholes. So I'll address any questions that you may have.
Sandy?
Oh, yes, thank you. The PHI CA mixing system pilot, there's one there at Oak Terrace, and it's doing well,
Yes.
and you want to buy 2 more. What's the cost of them?
I think they're like 3,500 apiece.
$35K apiece. That's a capital,
Not 35K, $3,500.
oh, 3,500, I was going to say. Okay, so 7,000
Yes.
for the 2 of them. Any idea where the 2 sites you might consider?
Well,
I'm sure Kendrick's one of them.
Kendrick is one of them. They were talking Springborn, in,
Where's the other big one with Greece?
Well, there's quite a few, but these will be likely shuffled around.
Yeah.
Left in certain locations for a couple of weeks, clear it out, and then move to the next
No,
one.
because I know there were some issues of going into one of them and being able to stand on the grease. It was so thick, and it never wouldn't, weight of a man would not break it, so
We haven't tried it, but
that was a while ago, and that was the Kendrick or Springborn, one of those down there, so that's where those 2 might, $7,000, you must have it in your budget. I think so.
Are these reusable? I mean, you put them one place one time and can, 6 months down the road, we can move them?
absolutely user-friendly installation. The only potential issue is power available, because it's a plug-in compressor. That's the key component of the mixer.
Why is power an issue? Is it,
It's electric, it's an electric.
yeah, but is it bigger than a 20-amp service?
No, is it available? Is there a plug-in available at some of these, at all of the stations where it could be potentially used? Right now, there hasn't been a problem. And it was a key O&M staff that actually selected where they wanted to pilot these mixes. And they've been great in installing them and moving them around, and it's their feedback that is the key to the recommending that the town purchase a couple of units.
Sandy, you had other?
Oh, I've got more, thank you. The Wee Wee Antic project, did I read this right, that the line from Rose Point to Hathaway has never been looked at?
That's what I was told.
And you can't find the manhole on Rose Point?
The manhole near the Arnold Pump Station, we cannot, but it's a force main, and we could not find any kind of manhole that we could introduce a camera in. On the other side, which is, how did I describe it?
It connects to the marina on the other side, doesn't it?
Not 100% sure. We'll be able to figure it out, though.
Okay, but it was, you mean to tell me that thing has been underwater all this time and never been looked at? That was quite surprising.
Yeah, so there's a couple locations where manholes can only be
not
accessed at
surprised.
certain tides, which
At certain tides, yeah.
is bad in general.
Your recommendation for 3 additional vehicles should be included in the fiscal '25 budget. That's capital, and it needs to come before town meeting for purchasing of capital equipment, and your time frame for FY '25 budget articles is the end of February, just as a time frame for getting it done quicker. And it hasn't come before capital planning to be put on the 5-year plan. All right, I'm almost done. I was quite surprised to find that we have been paying, we paid for the rental and the IT hookup and feed for the smart cover, and one of them has been in the operations building break room for how long?
It was actually in the trailer, but,
Yeah, someplace, we're paid for it, we're paying for IT, it's not hooked up, and it's been there for some period of time. I was quite
I
surprised.
believe it was April of last year.
Because it said it was expected to go down to Swiss Beach, but because of everything happening, it was not installed there, so it wasn't installed anywhere. Do you expect us to pay for more, get more of these smart covers?
I would suspect that.
That's not my call, but you have 5, which is a good number, because they can be moved around.
Oh, they can be.
And Scott is going to take advantage of that, and he's going to move some of them around. He's going to take them out of the current locations and move them to locations
Yeah,
where,
especially that line coming in from Hideaway Village. The amount of gas coming in that line is horrible. The neighbors,
that's Cohasset Road, right?
well, coming in, the first pumps, the first manhole coming in from Hideaway.
That's where I think
Yes.
that's where it's installed.
well, it goes to Cohasset Narrows.
It goes to, there's at least several lines,
That's
several
what she's, oh, okay.
manholes between where it connects from Hideaway to Cohasset, and that the one closest to the Red Brook Road is the one that's, the neighbors are constantly
Right,
have an issue with.
that's the one that also had the problem with the,
Everything rotted because of the gas.
they had to do repair work in there as well.
Yeah, because it collapsed, because everything, this sulfur, whatever that is, H2S,
H2S,
Yeah.
hydrogen sulfide.
corroded everything of metal and within that manhole. Great report.
Thank you.
I even shared it with some people. They were saying, really? Really? So I think that was my only comments I had was, thank you.
Any other questions, comments from the board?
No, I think it was a good report. I think it's highlighted some areas that we need to get on right away. Scott's already aware of them, and he's taking care of it, so.
I like that spelling of Weeantic.
What is the correct spelling, Peter?
WEWEANTIC,
Yeah.
all one word,
It is.
not wee-wee.
You'll take care of that one, Charlie.
I will. And-
I like his spelling better.
Yeah, we're gonna change the sign.
More appropriate.
PP,
On his report.
PP-wee-wee.
Anything else, Bob?
Thank you, Charlie.
Great report.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Charlie.
Okay.
I look forward to the next one.
Oh, let's, a month from now, or?
Yes, it's the regular, if something else comes up.
Okay. I'll try to get it to you a couple of days in advance, like
Okay.
I did this one, okay?
Yes,
Great.
thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Charlie,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Excuse me. The next one, and again, going out of order, because of the people we have in the room. I'd like to go to 5A, which is the Wareham Housing Authority moratorium. Last week, we tabled this, and of course, took no action when we adjourned. And I felt we should bring this up again for a number of reasons. And I would say, from my personal point of view, I would encourage approval on a lot of issues, none of which have to do with our moratorium. But that we have over 700 40B units in our community, most owned and operated by a private entity and making money for them. And I'll go with a friend of mine from the Finance Committee who opposed anything that was putting our tax dollars into a private developer's pocket. And in this case, unfortunately, it's only 4 units. It's not 150, 180 or whatever that the 40B units are usually accompanied with. And from my personal point of view, being a member of this community, Wareham, that we can find what is necessary to accommodate 4 units for our elderlies. So I'll tell you, if, any other comments before I ask for a motion?
This is not a 40B project.
I didn't say it was.
I heard you say 40B.
I compared it to 40Bs
It's just,
as far as housing for our elderly is concerned. I didn't mean to do that, Sandy.
and it isn't just for elderly,
Indeed.
it's just for people who need affordable units. And yes, I'm disappointed that this hadn't had to come like this. Too bad. When it was first approved in 2016, the paperwork, the right appropriation wasn't done to come before us to ask for hookup at that time. There may have been discussion with the prior superintendent, but it never got to us, therefore it never got on our list for hookup. But if you are going to bypass our moratorium, I'm going to ask you to define why.
I think because it's an opportunity for us to do something on behalf of some people, whether they be elderly or not. For 4 units, I feel town of Wareham can find enough water for those 4 units.
It's still
It's
in
an emotional
violation
thing.
of the moratorium.
Beg your pardon?
It's still in violation of the
It
moratorium.
is an exception to the moratorium.
Well,
Well, I have something to say about it. Under the past superintendent and watching the meetings, there were a few projects that he approved without approval of the commission.
do you remember which ones they were?
I don't remember which ones they were. I'll go back through the video of the meetings. But it came as a surprise to the board. And, I mean, if we're going to shoot this down because of the moratorium, then I would think it only fair to take back the gallons, which is impractical, from the permits that were given out under the past superintendent without the permission or authorization from the commission.
Now, the prior superintendent passed out 6 one-bedroom extensions, and they were covered with a withdrawal of a project that was approved on Sandwich Road. So when that project on Sandwich Road was taken back, that gallons became available. Unfortunately, so,
I do remember the surprise and
yes, it was.
consternation
Oh, yes, we were not
of the
happy.
board.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 building permits were issued on February 23, and they came to a gallons less than the 1320 that was removed from the 83 Sandwich Road, so there was no increase in flow. What was annoying was that it was done without our permission, but there was no increase in flow. It was covered by something that was removed from our list.
Was it done in violation of the moratorium?
Check the date, it had to be.
I
Yep.
would say it was.
Yes, it was, because it was a wash. We took back 83 Sandwich Road, and he gave out several building permits.
So technically, it shouldn't have been given out.
Well, theoretically,
It wasn't, it was given out without the permission of the board.
and I'm going to go down, we approved Damien's Pantry and the car wash after our moratorium. We approved it. So we approved it too, so we were just in violation ourselves.
So that goes to my point of, there's only 4 units here. It's, how many gallons?
440.
Yeah, that's,
So at what point do we say, then what do we do about Broad Street? Then what do we do about the 2 other 40B projects that are in our packet for tonight?
well, to counter that, I would say, well, what do we do? about all of it. At what point do we make a decision? Because this will just drag on and on. I mean,
We were-
I know, I understand the point.
I don't think anybody wants to deny this,
No, I think,
but I thought we were waiting for GHD to tell us where we stood.
Because of the increase that we have in our lagoons and whatever, we're waiting for GHD to say we have some gallons available. We're waiting for Murphy Street to be corrected, to say we have some gallons available.
I mean, everybody wants to see it go forward. We're just trying to find a way around the rules. That's what it comes down to.
Yes,
we've already set precedent.
We have a discussion going on here that's going around in a circle. The answer I never got from before on this is, when are these units going to be built? And when are they going to be occupied? Now, is that going to happen in the next 3 months? Is that going to happen in the next 6 months? Is it going to happen in the next year? When?
It'll happen as soon as we.
you have to come to the
That's not
mic,
answer.
please.
The answer is, when is it going to happen? That's the answer I'm looking for, not as soon as.
Well,
That's a,
we can't predict or give a date on that until we get allowance to get building permits, which depends on the ability to have a hookup with the sewer. So they
So
could have been
around in
built,
another
they could have been
circle.
built a long time
you're
ago.
going around in a circle, Bob.
But they're not.
If
Can
you
I
had
just-
if you had permission today, when would they be built?
We have to go out to bid again.
Okay, so
because-
so you're talking a year before these are going to be
No,
habitable?
no. It could be quicker than that if we can get the go-ahead to get a RFP out. Can I just explain a couple of things?
Yes.
We're talking about the input from these 4 units, per unit per day, 39 gallons.
Bob, it doesn't make a difference if it's a gallon, it's an increase.
We've been around this
That's
long.
It's an
that's-
increase, but as you were talking about,
It's
you have
an
the
increase.
latitude, your moratorium is your
We
moratorium.
don't have the
You
latitude. The
do.
moratorium says no additional
That's your
flow.
moratorium. You can change it to say for this.
We can't change it without getting the
You
GHD to
voted
tell
it,
us
didn't
we
you?
have.
No, you can change it, make
You
up your
voted
own
it.
mind, Peter.
You voted to accept the moratorium. You could have not accepted it. You could have amended the presentation by your engineers. That's what a board does. They make decisions
Now
and
we're
make
going to give
judgments.
instructions on how to do
I'm
it.
just telling you. But anyway, can I mention this about this 40B business? There's a list that you were presented indicating that we're on the list of 40B. Above and beyond, except and apart from 40B, we are the housing authority, a creature of the Commonwealth that was created by state legislature 70 years ago when the town determined that there was a need for housing for elderly in families. The town determined that. So we're on a separate list, above and apart from the list that you show, that this DHCD gives you the saying we're 40B. We're super 40B, or we're beyond 40B. We're a public entity in the only place in town amongst all these other, as someone indicated, that provides affordable public housing. No profit. If the cost to rent these units is $700 a month, that's what these residents would pay. They're not going to be paying some landlord $3,000 a month. $2,300 of it is coming from some subsidy source. So we're separate and distinct, and I think we're deserving of this small exception so we can proceed to get these units in place to provide additional units for needy, elderly, disabled, homeless, veterans, etc. 4 units.
And the SHI, subsidized housing list, is not a 40B list. It's
Well,
a
that's what
list
it
of,
says.
no, it doesn't. It's a list of affordable. There's nothing on this thing that says 40B.
It says Department of Housing and Community Development, Chapter 40B, Subsidized Housing Inventory.
But not everything
says.
on here is a 40B.
That's, my point is.
Yes, I see it in the heading.
My point is, I don't care whether it's 40B or not. We're separate and apart, super 40B.
And honestly, I don't see you on the list.
We're on the top. They don't even give you the name. It says
Oh, that's right, Sandwich Road, 40 units.
40 units, that's us. In perpetuity, forever, perpetually. Church Avenue, that's us.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't care if I'm on this list. A separate
You are.
Separate, yeah, but that's some bureaucrat in DHCD Boston created. I'm telling you, I'm separate and apart from them by virtue of state
What is it?
statute.
You wanted it.
Oh, thank you.
The state statute created this entity through the town. We got a certificate of organization from the Secretary of State, so we exist in town. We could be an Indian reservation, we could be a federal agency, we could be something else, but we're not one of
Okay,
those 40Bs.
so currently you do not have a bid, accepted bid to buy these 2 units, right? You have to you have to go out to an RFP to rebid these 2 units. Well, two duplexes.
buildings,
Two
two buildings, yeah.
duplexes. So there's no RFP yet.
We got the RFP, it's been ready to go, but we're not going.
Has it gone out to bid yet?
No, we're waiting.
Okay, so you do not have a...
We're waiting till when people ask, and when are you going to build it, and we say, we don't know.
Okay, so-
We're trying to get off this
So
merry-go-round.
one of the things I'm hearing is that you can't get a building permit until you have approval for sewer hookup.
From all the
Okay.
departments, right.
So the requirement for a sewer hookup does not prevent you from sending out your RFP.
Right.
Okay.
So, but it prevents me from talking logically with bidders who want to ask questions about when will we be able to hook up within 3 months, 6 months, or 10 years later, when you get another engineer study that says you can substitute 4 gallons for this 4 gallons. You got latitude, as it was demonstrated at the last meeting, where they said when you had all the rains and the floods and everything, you were still under capacity by 1 million gallons. So my point is, you have a man-made moratorium that is subject to your modification without being handcuffed by something you superimpose on yourself, that's all. Simple. Happens all the time. And I'm sure you've done it before, knowingly or unknowingly.
I'm looking at it from the position that I sit in an elected capacity. I represent my voters who voted for me and the rest of the town. And in that capacity, I would ask myself, what would the town, the other voters, people who supported me, want me to do, or want the Board of Sewer Commissioners to do? And I think as a representative of the town of Wareham, my feeling is my voters would want me to approve this particular exception to the moratorium.
So to further on what you said, the other question is, what's the harm in this few gallons being added to the system? Where's the harm?
What's the harm in sending out the RFP and finding out when you have a particular...
Because they won't respond. I've been through all this, sir. I'm here to ask you, you can ask me questions about reasons to prolong it, but we're on a merry-go-round here.
Now, previous to this, we've often complained that no one comes to us first. The gentleman is here first. He can't go out or does not want to go out to the RFP arena or the like until, and rightly so, we make the decision yes or no.
Oh, we're not the first. He came before Conservation. So we're not the first appointing approval committee.
If we heard from GHD that we had the wherewithal to approve it, would that,
Well,
That would
Bob,
simplify
I'm
it.
concerned, why do we go through a third
I'm just,
party?
no, I'm just saying,
We're all elected representatives.
true.
We have the ability to make up our own minds.
But we don't have the data that GHD has.
So what? Make a decision. Do you think this people, for me, it's an
Oh,
emotional
yeah,
decision.
I want to give it to him,
I
but,
don't always have to check with somebody. I make up my own mind.
so you don't have to check to make sure the system has the capacity for whatever gallons are being asked for. You'll do it without knowing.
All this time that I've been here, I know I've detailed whether or not we have capacity for this particular issue. I take it by individual issue. Yes, we're setting a precedent. okay, we have to define that. But from my perspective, from where I sit, as a member of this board, as a citizen of this community,
Oh, God.
I would say yes. That's my opinion. I have only one vote here on the board.
Then my concern is that we have off Broad Street who wants gallons. We have 50 Depot. We have 15 Gibbs Ave that wants capacity. We say no to them.
I thought you said there was nobody on the queue.
They're on the agenda for tonight. In our packet are 3 requests for sewer hookups. And 2 of them are 40B projects for affordable housing.
Were they approved by the town?
They haven't started.
No, I'm saying that you've been approved at town meeting, haven't
You've
you?
been approved by town meeting.
No,
Finance
wait,
Committee,
wait.
Selectmen,
What were you approved at town meeting?
we were approved for the funds to build
You
these
were-
4 units.
You were approved $650,000 of CPA funds to build, no other approval. I'm just, Bob, there was no other committee or anything else.
But
It was just
It was
funding.
approved with the implication or the intention that they were going to be built and have sewerage. And that's what the conservation and planning and all those other boards did. They gave us the money.
No, CPC
Go
gave you the
forward.
money.
Yeah, CPC, Planning, Board of Selectmen, Finance Committee, all approved this thing several years ago.
The only request you had before town meeting
Was funding.
appropriation from CPC.
Yes,
As a
that's
separate
tec-
entity,
technically
you didn't
true.
have to come before town meeting for approval to build this,
Right.
because you're an
but-
independent agency.
Right, but you do to get general support for the project in the town. As I said, the town voted 60 years ago that they determined there was a need for elderly and family housing in the town. So this town saw fit to go and create a housing authority for elderly families in Wareham. There's also the same statute that allows the creation, allows for the dissolution of the housing authority. So maybe we should go forward and put an article on the town meeting to say, seeing that we can't seem to make progress to get 4 gallons of water, we should vote to dissolve the Wareham Housing Authority.
You really want to do that?
No, I don't.
And
I'm
then-
just being facetious because
Yes, I got
we're in
that.
this merry-go-round here. Log jam.
Okay, enough discussion. On the board, does anyone wish to make a motion? No motion is made. Subject has died. Sorry, Bob.
Thank you. Take care.
I strongly recommend this comes back to us when we have an answer from GHD.
I'll second that.
When you get that answer, could we be informed so that we know to come to the meeting?
Yep.
Well,
It's going to be several months because the board has to, it will be several months because the board has to go through the process of establishing the data to support the lifting or more.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
could we establish a queue at this time? Put him at the head of the list?
We have one at the last meeting. We talked about the 440 gallons for the Housing Authority.
If we get the okay from GHD, he's on the top of the list?
We did that last meeting.
there is no criteria for establishing the order in which the queue is created.
Peter, I'm writing them down sequentially as we receive them.
So he's number 1.
He's number 1.
Thank you.
Okay,
Just a question, Sandy,
Yes, Bob.
to you, to Sandy. What's this 440 gallons?
That's what you're asking for.
No, I'm not asking.
No, 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 no.
No,
That's
you-
what we are saying, these 4 units will be 440 gallons.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. That's not what I'm saying. And
We're
it's
not,
That's the standard,
our
Bob. We
standard.
can't- we-
that's our standard.
not
Yeah.
actual. It's not,
That's what we have to go by.
Yes.
That's what we have to go by.
well, that's what you have to go by.
That's the problem.
Getting that here, and gotta go by. All right, thank
it
you
is
so
the,
much.
it's an accurate criteria we have to follow.
I understand.
Like it, but-
Next item on our agenda, I believe it's Steve, on 15 Gibbs Ave, which would be 5V. Did I get that correct? 5V and
5V and
5W?
5W.
Yep.
He's here with both of them.
Good afternoon. I'm Stephen Bushman. I'm a resident of Wareham, 19 Depot Street, lifelong resident. And we're here-
Sorry, Steve, for our minute taken, can you spell your last name for her?
Certainly, BEAUCHEMIN.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. I'm here asking the board if we could get on the queue for these two projects. If we could start that process, this would be great. There's a question come up a few moments ago, how long do you think this project's gonna be before we break ground? I would guess maybe 2 years. Timeframe, year and a half. Pretty much, by the time we permit it. DHCD asked the selectmen for a letter of support for the project and move forward. Took about a year and a half of the last project. And that's why we're here, for the two different projects.
For 15 Gibbs Ave is the Everett School, next to the Congregational Church on Gibbs Ave, and then if you need to make a reference point,
Over by the cannons, right next door to the church.
yes.
Yes, ma'am. And the second property is 20 Depot Street across from the East Wareham School, on the corner of Tyler Ave. There are 3 units existing, the duplex top and bottom, and there's a 2-bedroom above the garage as well. We've been in front of the Wareham Trust, the Housing Trust, and we got a letter of support for both projects. And I'm here asking to be put on the queue for when we go in front of the selectmen, because I heard that question come up on the last project that was presented, if they were in the, in line to receive sewer. That's why I'm here, sir. Ladies.
Any questions?
These are both 40Bs?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Friendly 40Bs.
What's that?
Friendly. We work with the town 100%.
Make a motion, we put them on the queue.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? There being none, to clarify, you were really asking to put into the queue. There's no permission or permit granted here.
Correct.
In terms of going forward
Yes,
for
sir.
other permits.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Understood.
Any other questions or concern? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote. 500.
So for the record, 15 Gibbs Ave is looking for 3,630 gallons per day. 20 Depot is asking for 880 gallons per day. I just want that included in the minutes.
Additional on 20 Depot, correct?
Yes, yes, additional, because you already
additional-
have some.
An additional to the office space gallonage also on Gibbs Ave.
What was the number
Okay.
of gallons on the first one, Sandy?
His request is for 3,630 gallons per day for the 15 Gibbs Ave, and the his May 4th letter indicates 880 gallons per day
On Depot Street.
On Depot.
on
Yes, sir.
Depot Street.
Correct.
You let that information be part of the record?
I've just said it, so I've asked that it be part of the minutes.
I just want to make sure she doesn't skip over that line.
That's why I review the minutes.
Anything further? Nothing, Steve.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much,
and good
folks.
luck.
We appreciate it. Thank you for your support.
The next one is, we'll go to 5B and C, which is the denitrifying wood chip biofact field trial. Not sure why this showed up, because we did sign an approval on January 11th, voted, so we're going to recertify.
We're reaffirming the vote that we
Yes.
took already.
Can I have a motion, please?
Make a motion, we reaffirm the vote that was already taken.
Second.
Motion to reaffirm is being proposed. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote 500.
We've already signed the document, correct?
Yes, we already have.
Yep.
And yes, that was for B and C. And D, 5D. For some reason or other, I don't know why, this keeps popping up on my paperwork, because we voted to reaffirm this June 21st.
Okay, that is done.
Yeah, so we'll pass
To me-
over that.
And please don't put it on the next agenda.
No,
Cross it off your agenda. Cross it off. I want to see an X.
oh, okay,
I want to see an X.
a bold X.
Yes.
Okay, we just have some small housekeeping. 5E is a change order to extend the completion date. And it's a no-cost change to extend the contract. There's a note now I'm reading from Mark. And was needed because the contractor owed the town a few more items per their contract. And we need to we need to review those items.
Okay, so if I take a look at it, E is change order number 3.
Yes. Now, these,
F is change order number 2.
they may not all apply, or do not all apply to the same contract.
It says change order Kendrick bypass number 2, and that's F. G is change order,
Excuse me, let's do these one at a time, please.
okay, so we're going to do number E, which is change order number request 3 for the WPCF improvements extension of the date.
Completion date, correct.
Okay.
And I read the explanation that Mark had sent. Any questions? May I have a motion to accept?
Make a motion, we accept.
Second.
And this is to extend the completion date to 3/29/24. I want that in the minutes.
The next one is,
What, can we vote?
You got to vote.
oh, I apologize. All those in favor say aye.
I make a motion?
I think we had a motion.
No, we didn't.
I thought we did.
And a
Yeah, I
second?
seconded
Made
it.
a
Okay.
motion, second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote. 500.
Are you going to pass the paperwork around at the end of the meeting?
Yes, he's got it going that
Okay.
way. I usually end with you because it goes into the blue folder right after yours.
Okay, next one.
F is a change order for the Kendrick bypass. Again, to extend the completion date.
2,
To last July 30th.
7/30/23.
Make a motion. Second. We accept the extension.
Seconded.
Wait a minute, for some reason I remember. Again, to
Wait,
extend the
what-
completion date to,
1 second, we're extending it to the,
To last year.
Yeah,
oh, we're
History.
extending it to last year.
yes.
Back to the future.
Back to the
Yes.
future.
Gotcha.
You good with that?
I think we're just cleaning up paperwork.
yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was in the
I
office
cleaned
with
it up
Marie
in the
this
fireplace.
morning, and between trying to do town clerk and our business.
Okay,
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
we have it.
We already did second, just a vote.
Just a vote.
We
Keep-
did it last.
keep going.
We took
I
it
was in here.
yesterday.
Was I here?
Yeah, you were looking for it. It was stuck to another
Thank
piece of
you.
paper.
Any concerns or questions? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The vote?
Make a motion, we extend the completion date
He asked
For the
that.
next one?
Be 5G. Again, extend the completion date, same explanation.
Well, can we say it's for the CWMP, and we're extending the date to 7/18/24 for the minutes?
Second.
I don't know, that was his note, and I typed it as they had given to me. Yep, okay. Did I hear a motion and a second?
Yep.
Any concerns or questions? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 500. Five H, change order request.
Make a motion, we extend the groundwater discharge evaluation, extend the completion date to July 18th, 24.
Second?
Motion is made and seconded. Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote.
Thank you, Jimmy, for being complete on it.
Entirely welcome.
Next one's 5I.
I don't think I saw that one.
They have...
No, sorry, Bernie, I don't think I saw that one.
This one?
You put something in the folder, and I don't think I had a chance to sign it.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right.
I know.
The overall order, because of the additional costs that have incurred on Wakinko with all the issues they've encountered, contract has been increased to a total of $3,074,803. These monies now are coming out of the, I think it was the ARPA funds in particular.
No, this came out of our $3 million article to borrow $3 million.
Now, there's an article to borrow for the relining. There's two articles.
Well, this is number 2. This is the first phase of Wankinko up to Bayview, is this not? This is not Bayview to Murphy. This is what we had a problem at, the first contract. This is just Swiss Beach to Bayview. This is our $3 million that we borrowed from, and I asked this at the last meeting when this came up, I'll ask again. Were we coming up for the $74,803 that we haven't approved to borrow?
You're correct, Sandy. It's the, includes on replacement of the main on Wakinko Ave between Swift Beach Road and Bayview Street. Standard scope will extend replacement of the water main on Wakinko Ave between Bayview and Barnes Street. Expanded scope is being requested by the town and the Wareham Fire District to facilitate planned future sewer improvements and replace aged infrastructure.
This is the change order number 1
Yes.
for a total of $224,000, $224,803. That's the change order 1 that we have in front of us.
Yes.
Now, my question is, we approved $3 million to borrow. Where are we coming up with the other $74,000 to take care of this change order? We have to pay it. We have to.
Approved, yes. The contract was signed for a different amount. It's what the amount was in the we were contracted with to
Granted.
Dan Warren, but that's what we're doing. It's a signed contract. we're increasing that level.
My only concern was the amount of money that they're asking for above what town meeting approved for 3 million. Where are we going to come up with the $74,000 to pay for the balance of this change order?
74,000.
Yes. Where are we coming up with that money? We can't borrow it because we can only borrow
can't,
3 million.
Yeah.
We have to pay it.
I don't recall a conversation, and not to suggest there, I didn't have one, with Derek to suggest an alternative, i.e. ARPA funds or something of that nature. So we'll put this back and,
Well, this has already been paid, has it not?
no, all we're doing, this one, all we're doing is increasing the overall cost. Because we haven't received invoices to that total amount. We've only received 3 invoices. The fourth one would represent
Okay.
over the set amount.
So, just the question was asked at the last 2 weeks ago, and no response. So this is not a new problem. We knew it 2 weeks ago, that there's change order in excess of our
You're
3
right.
million, and there's been no action as to how we're going to fund the 74,000.
Correct. We'll set that aside then. And move on to the next one, which is,
Now, excuse
Let's
me,
see.
I just got one question. From the looks of what I'm reading here, this has already been signed by Derek
Yes, it has.
in October.
Yes, but it was never approved by us.
So there has to be something in the works, if it's been approved, to fund it.
And, you know, you talk about the 3 million that we borrowed. We got the okay at town meeting. That was for the original project.
There was a change order made. I can tell you that article number, there was a change order made in their special July town meeting that changed the scope of that 3 million to be this.
Right.
Yes, so the 3 million, he modified that article in July town meeting to change it from from the gravity feed to this
No,
contract.
From the force feed
From the
to the repair.
okay, I'm going to say from the grinder pumps to the repairs.
Correct,
Yes, and that was done as a special town meeting article. That's the 3 million we're talking about for this project.
Right.
Yes,
Now, it was approved at town meeting, but we never approved the repair project.
that's another topic. Yes, it never came before us. I know that's on your list. Yes, but I just, do we approve this? What are they waiting for? I mean, it's one of those things that's been approved by our town administrator, and he signs all the contracts. So why are we even seeing this?
because we hadn't seen it.
We saw it 2 weeks ago. Yep, okay. So the question is, where is the $74,000 coming from?
Yep.
No,
Okay, the next one, moving on to the next one, okay?
yep,
Are we putting this one on hold for the next meeting for clarification?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want a motion on that? Or
no,
No, because we never brought it to the floor
Okay,
to begin
fine.
with.
So stick that one aside.
no.
Now, the
This-
next one are the invoices that have been submitted.
These have been submitted and paid, correct?
I couldn't tell you whether or not they've been paid.
They've been submitted?
They've been submitted, of course.
So one of
That's
them
what I've
goes,
seen.
one of them goes to
All three of them are.
10/31/23, 11/30/23, 12/31/23. What's the total of the three of them?
I have that. 2.8, I think. About 2.8 mil.
$2.8 million for the three of them.
Looks like
Off the top of my head,
2,850,000.
yeah.
Okay, requisition one for $48,611.50 for the minutes. Number two, $863,257.30. 36 cents for the minutes.
Correct.
Request number three, $1,620,332.90 for the minutes. These have all been paid, or in the process of being paid. And it's under our $3 million, so it does include some of the change order. Doesn't it exceed our contract? Or you,
The change orders for
okay, so this
4,
is,
it's still within.
Bob, you said $2,850,000?
That's what it looked like.
Then
yeah.
that's our initial contract.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
so these three we can't approve, correct? Yes.
I make a
Because
motion,
the-
we take the three of them as one vote.
Second,
I think we are.
Yep.
That's my motion, and that we approve the three.
Yes.
and you got a second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor
These-
say aye.
These are increases,
No, these are just, the total does not exceed our original appropriation. So the difference that Sandy is concerned about, and rightly so, where the money is coming from.
This is the cost of the
70.
original contract, $2,850,000. The three of them total that.
so this is how they're gonna cover the fact that we never got the contract in the first place.
Some things you have to do, because they weren't done properly to begin with.
So we never see any of the engineering of it.
Well, I can send you all, I have it all. I think I have it all. If you want to see it, it's online,
I wanna see it in advance.
And I would suggest, in some of these things that you haven't seen, you look on the website, because if I've got them, I put them on our website.
What do you title the website?
Pardon?
What is the title of the website?
Wareham Sewer Department.
On the town website.
It's there?
I believe it is. I loaded everything up. When I first, there's only a couple, there's over 16 entries over there, pieces, reports, et cetera.
And it's on the town website, under the sewer
Can you send them a
department.
link?
Just go Wareham,
Yeah.
down to Wareham. And
Yeah.
the website comes up and you just like,
And then
Sewer
you,
department.
and then you look up sewer department,
Oh.
and I'm going to find these.
I believe you will, yeah. I've loaded a lot of stuff on, I just make an assumption. If I had it, I loaded it. It is, and I'll load it after I come back from North Carolina.
Oh, no. Do it tomorrow. I mean, it's already been all done.
No, tomorrow I have daughter responsibilities, and that's something, I'm sorry, Peter, you don't override.
Okay,
Okay, next one.
I didn't think we voted.
I'm sorry, you're correct. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? For the change orders 1, 2, and 3. Is
No, these are not change orders, these are payments.
payments.
You said change orders.
Did say, thank you.
This is for the 1, 2, and 3 requisitions.
Yes,
And you have paperwork to pass around?
it's coming.
Okay.
Okay, the next one, 5M. Oh, Charlie's gone. He has asked for his contract to be extended for 1 month. The original expiration was February, the end
I
of
make a
February
motion, we approve
24.
change order number 1 to extend the contract of the CLW O&M Solutions to extend the contract through March 31st, 2024.
Seconded.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There being none, all carried 500.
Pass those down.
Next item is 5N, which is O&M Solutions, their invoice 2146 in the amount of $11,250.
I make a motion, we approve the payment of the invoice number 2146 for $11,250.
Seconded.
Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Next is 5O. Sandy, you had requested this on the warrant. Could you explain it, please?
Yes, I had created a article to rescind a town meeting vote for the, on $2 million for engineering costs for the Swiss Beach Smith Street sewer line. And I was reminded that that article was modified at the April 23 town meeting, Article 14, to change of funding source for 2022 fall town meeting water pollution control facility, Article 15, secondary clarifiers upgrade, Article 16, WPCF headworks, and Article 17, Swiss Beach Smith Street sewer lines. And with that, I sent out a note and I received a response from Mr. Foster that all we had to do was vote to return the engineering cost to our, to our certified retained earnings. We don't need a town meeting vote. We don't need a town meeting article. I sent that note, I sent that email from Mr. Foster to everybody.
What kind of motion would you request?
I think we have I would like to make a motion that we return $2 million to our FY23 certified retained earnings for the Swift Beach Smith Street sewer line engineering.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Now, this returns to the retained earnings?
That's where this article,
Yes.
Spring 14 said that's what the money was sent to retained earnings. Now we have to say we want it taken out of retained earnings. We don't want it there anymore. We don't want it on the books.
Okay, on the motion.
We're not going to use it.
So we're not going to check those lines?
The idea of this, when we did the Wonkinko and the rest of Swiss Beach for the the grinder pumps. We were also going to do the other pump station being on Smith Street.
Right.
And since we got rid of the ones on the rest of Ruggles,
So the engineering,
this is just for the engineering costs. So when we're no longer going to do it on the Ruggles pump station, we have to say we weren't going to do it for the Smith Street pump station. Therefore, we are not going to do it, therefore, we're going to return the funds.
okay. That's not exactly correct, but okay, I understand it.
Well, we talked about engineering costs.
Yes, but it's not the two different pump stations. It's the areas that we were going to do.
Well, it was the lines feeding to those pump stations.
No. They both feed to Ruggles and then Smiths.
I thought they fed differently.
It's just a different section of the town.
Okay, well, anyway, there was,
It's okay.
okay, it was the Smith Street one that we are not going to
It was
do.
the engineering cost.
Yes, just the
Sorry, Sandy,
engineering.
could you repeat that, please?
No. I don't understand why there had to be so many S's. So the motion,
It's been seconded.
Motion's been made and seconded.
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The vote, 500.
okay. Mr. Chair, you'll take care of that letter?
Yes, we'll take care of it.
That takes care of, there will be,
Okay.
I know of no article going before special spring or spring annual town meeting for sewer activity. We don't need it for this return of the 2 million. Okay,
Peter, for the Wakinko 1, 2, and 3 requisitions, you chose not to sign?
yes, he did. He chose not to
And the
sign.
vote would have been, did you,
No, he can vote, but he doesn't have to sign. All you need are 3 signatures.
Still don't like the way that whole project went down.
next item is 5R, which is the Bourne proposal to connect their recreation area to their municipal system, which would feed directly to us. Would you, I'm asking how you would like to proceed. How to, excuse me, arrange for a joint meeting with them? Would you like me to send this to our town attorney to confirm that it meets all the criteria?
Does this fall under what we've already committed to them?
Oh,
Yes.
sorry, did we miss P and Q?
Beg your pardon?
Did we jump over P and Q?
Watch your P and Qs.
I know. It's bad than wee.
I'm worried about
Yes,
your
we did,
Ts and
and
Is.
it's, until we get this final information, though, it's really not pertinent any
Why?
longer.
The
Because
Narrows
this would be the-
OSD contract has nothing to do with what we do. But we need to
No,
we need
Q
to,
is the cost phase, Swift Beach contrast, phase 1.
no, P, Narrows,
Oh, I'm
OSD
sorry.
contract, we voted last week without it on the agenda. We need to reaffirm the vote.
Ratify it, right?
That's all. I make a motion, we reaffirm the vote from,
Yeah, he needs to find the paper.
Seconded.
Yeah,
motion's been made and seconded for the reaffirming the vote.
That was taken on 11:30?
no, didn't we do it on 111?
I don't think so.
I have 11:30 here on my notes with everyone's signature.
Okay, 11:30 then.
No,
It's approval of the,
That's way back when we approved it.
Sandy.
no, this is the full contract. This is not the 150,000.
Yeah, that's what,
I thought this was for the full contract for Narrows.
they haven't awarded it yet.
Yeah, we had a note that they
We have the
did.
notes of what has been bid, because OSD was hired to perform those services.
We didn't sign, I thought we had approved it.
No, I was in with the town hall today asking about that. And
That's
I
certainly
talked
not
to-
what you have in your hand, because we did that a long time ago.
Yeah, and I talked to Sean Osborne, who is the agent for OSD, and they haven't got a signed contract for the 150 yet, although it's in process, and then they haven't awarded the actual contract.
Who's GVC Construction?
Contractor there.
We voted 500 on that at the last meeting.
Losing track of things here. Wait a minute.
It says discussion of OSD narrows. My note says we voted on it, and we would reaffirm.
That's what we referred this week.
This is the OSD Engineering Consultants, and they came back and said that this was for the GVC Construction, $5,956,275, and we voted 500.
Right, that was the consultant that
No.
picked out the, and they picked out the contractor, and we went along with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm losing track of what's going on now.
We're now waiting to see what the contract was, and
So what did we
seen it.
vote on last meeting?
We voted that the clerk of the works, OSD, could finalize the contract with the people that will actually do the work.
Problem, the agenda does not say vote. It says discuss. That's why we had to we have to reaffirm the vote tonight, because we voted on it at the last meeting, but it wasn't on the agenda to vote.
Right.
And we have to say we have to vote tonight because it's now on the agenda.
Okay. So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to reaffirm the vote that was conducted at the previous meeting.
Aye.
Aye.
All those in favor say aye.
Thank you. You're not, I
Thank you.
hate to being so picky, but someone could come back and say, we never approved
No,
it.
she never would.
Yeah, I was going to, I apologize for the
She
confusion,
talking
but I
about Nora
won't,
Picky?
because
No.
go into the offices and find documents are not signed or documents haven't processed. So I put them back on the agenda to get it done all over again, and so we keep repeating ourselves. Okay. Bourne.
Q, we're passing over.
Pardon?
Q, we're passing over.
Yes. Then the Bourne, how would you like to proceed on that?
So
I can,
back to my question, does this come out of what we've already committed to Bourne?
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
Okay, so it's not like it's a violation of the moratorium?
No, they're just outlining that they're
Our-
following the requirements.
The list we got from GHD said we had 10,000 gallons assigned to Bourne
That were
on the moratorium list.
Okay, so
It-
they're taking a
10
good-sized
or
chunk out of
100?
it.
100? What did I say? 10, 100?
10, it's 100,000 we have assigned to
100,000.
Bourne.
All right, I missed a zero.
Well, that's a big zero.
Just one order of magnitude.
Yeah, that's all.
Scott?
Oh, yeah, 5 zeros.
Sorry about that.
Are you talking about the board?
Second.
Scott, with regard to Bourne, and from your perspective as dealing with what they're sending us, do you have any issues that we should take up on a formal basis?
No, I think I mentioned before, stabilized waste from the campers. That's about it. Might be an issue. but I don't think it is actually an issue. The stabilized waste would actually stabilize the flow and make it so it wouldn't let off any H2S.
H2S.
So actually, it wouldn't help us, but just wouldn't hurt us. How's that?
I think the location that Charlie was talking about was producing a lot of odor on their side.
Now,
I would like to say with that, I would like to do some more investigation with regards to what is going on that street in particular, leading to that lift station, because if all the manholes downstream have been relined, except the most top manhole, why was that done? So, in other words, if all the gases are coming out of that point, it shouldn't rot everything all the way down the stream, because actually the pipe's pitched down. So the gas
Gas would flow up.
line is coming,
you're talking the Cohasset line from
yeah. Anyway,
Leisure Village.
that's all I would like to say on it.
Now-
Just, I want to investigate it some more.
For,
Do you feel any of the issues that you have with them, you can resolve between yourself and the
100%.
director over there?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
for Scenic Park, is this all coming from their dump station, or is each one of the campers hooked up to a sewer line?
Each camper would have its own sewer line.
So
Or
every-
Not camper, sorry, or, well, I guess there are parking
Site.
RVs there, the site, but they have like little cabins. So,
Cabins?
They send it all the way back to us, so we can send it all the way back to the.
They do have some cabins, I believe, but
Okay,
okay, either
So
way,
for-
it wouldn't be a big deal.
every place where they put something,
Did you know this?
cabin, there will be hundreds of laterals put in? Is that a good way to put it?
My understanding, that's usually.
So they don't have to, plus the dump site people can drive to and empty. Okay.
We've already got it.
Okay, I'll get in touch with Jared and see what
The
he'd like
scenic
to go
park
forward.
setup is similar to a trailer park. That's all.
Manufactured home park,
I'm sorry.
not your Ps and Qs.
Touche.
We have another one on 5S, is the Broad Street sewer permit review, requesting for the reviewing team to review the rejected drain layer permit. It was submitted by our contractor, Mr. Andre, excuse me. We have submitted our application for the building permit for Broad Street office. It is on hold because of the sewer department's response.
Who responded to them?
I have no idea.
Oh, I did. The Broad Street office.
Yes.
There was a few that came through this week.
You want to see it? My question looking at this, how many other commitments had been made that didn't come before us?
Next, I'm looking at the dates here.
Yes.
Suppose the building permit was submitted in June.
Yeah, I would have to look back into exactly why, but I believe they don't have a lateral existing. The design actually provides a lateral and a run to get to it, to the sewer.
Is that the one that's parallel to Onset Ave? That they didn't have a lateral to it, and he had to go through somebody else's property?
I don't believe so. He's going down the street. But to an existing manhole with no lateral, I believe is the case. So,
And that response would be within your purview if there's no lateral existence. Answers the question.
That was the issue.
Okay, the people with,
But maybe their question is regarding the timeline, which, when it just comes up on my screen, it's someone with a design to go to a lateral, to go to a non-existing lateral, which, under the current structure, you don't have a lateral.
No lateral, no hookup.
Right, so, I think they've presented a timeline and perhaps trying to explain why it should be given something.
they try, perhaps trying to get into the point where if it submitted it early enough, irrespective of not being an existing lateral, they have the option of installing one because of the date of application.
And we have done that we've always allowed for new hookups, and they just have to pay the latest betterment, et cetera. But this is the moratorium now, which doesn't allow this.
He's trying to get, he's
Because-
trying to move the date before our moratorium,
Perhaps he goes on the queue.
at best.
Just out of curiosity, in this particular instance, are they subject to a betterment charge?
Oh, yes.
100%.
The latest one, which was
Not a betterment,
18K out of,
What are we calling it now? It's not a betterment on this.
Connection fee?
Connection fee or something?
and I think it's, what's the latest one? 18K because of,
18K,
Oakdale.
18K.
Yeah. Okay, so
one,
we do nothing with this one.
5U would be an update on Wakinko and Swift's Beach, and if you haven't seen the report in Wareham Week, excellent report. Also some very good pictures that Danny has provided them.
And I apologize for missing the meeting. It was on my calendar, then it disappeared.
You have one of those
I
things
wonder
too,
who disappears my calendar.
Well, he just wanted you to stay home and cuddle with him.
Please come to the table with the government.
When
I'll
you think
repeat
it can't
that. Are
evolve
you
any
crazy?
further than it already has.
But that was a great update by Danny. I saw it online the other day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had to chuckle watching because he knows the people, the names of these
Yep.
people, recognize them, they know him. It's like, oh, it's all friends.
But I was surprised that stormwater was included in what he was doing. That shocked me, that he was dealing with the stormwater issues down in that area. The stormwater drains, I
Yeah.
thought that was outside of his scope.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'd love to see Murphy Street gets fixed as soon as possible, because that could give us gallons.
Yes, well, the important thing,
And we have 5Y was Nelson's, 28 Nelson Street, and that's something you wanted in because there's an incomplete list, Sandy?
Well, I wanted X. Depot Street businesses are shut down, and they're still shut down, and I believe it's because of a
So their problem.
grease. But that's
It's their
back,
problem.
but it's granted, but what are we doing under fog to make sure that they do their right inspections? And I don't know. I know it's,
Well,
we
we
wash
had
our
the-
hands of it, but I think we need
had
to,
a meeting on fog, and nothing went further with that.
then I think it's,
And what happened is, basically, we lost staff,
yep,
and had no staff to be able to do that with everything else you're trying to take care of that became an emergency far and above this.
yep.
I mean, this is an item that Scott's aware of. It's gonna be, it's something on the agenda someplace to get taken care of, but we need staffing to do it.
And I thought that
And we
Mr.
don't have the
Campita
staffing
said
to
that
do
the
it.
Board of Health would be doing the inspections for us, but I think we never got that confirmed by the Board of Health.
Well, as I say, well,
But it's just, their businesses are still shut down.
yeah,
But they brought it on themselves by not keeping their grease clean, and I'd like to put out to the public, to those that have grease traps, please inspect them, clean them out, or you're going to have your business shut down.
You getting this?
No, probably not. Fog. It's grease.
it was coming in tonight.
Fats, oils, and grease. Fog. The Depot Street, the little shopping center there, they're all closed down because they've clogged their lines with grease. They've done it to themselves. It's not a fault of the sewer department.
Yeah, I think there's a separate group, I vaguely remember,
That's,
that does that kind of inspections.
now,
But not us.
does that go
No.
practically right straight through to Depot Street, right from there?
Well, it actually crosses quite a few lines.
Yeah.
But regardless,
Are we seeing anything at Depot Street? Oh, yeah?
oh yeah. Most of the, I see the main lift stations that I've seen are all inundated with grease. And it doesn't have to be just from businesses, to be clear.
Oh, no. Every time you cook bacon, don't wash the pan before you wipe it out. You're gonna put the grease down your drain.
Yeah. I can imagine them doing that in
You
a
put the-
Chinese restaurant.
You put the grease in a jar and you put it in the refrigerator so you can use it to cook with later.
You got it.
don't put it out for the squirrels?
Oh, no, no, no.
Okay.
Was there a page in the coloring book dealing with this? I don't know.
Have you finished your coloring book?
I gave them out for Christmas. To mixed reviews.
Okay, the next one is the 28 Nelson Street. Sandy, which particular list of the actual people hooked up? Is that
Well,
what
I saw something, I know, but I saw something that they ended up going through another person's lateral. I went into sewer and they gave me this reported, here is one in which there was a lateral off of 21 Bigsby in which 28 Nelson hooked up to it. And I came across, my concern is how many more of these properties are not on our list of not connected?
Is not connected, but are connected to someone else's lateral?
Regardless, not connected. I just came across 6 and 8 Acorn Street coming before Conservation, a forested piece of property. There are 2 laterals there. They're not on our not connected list. My concern is how many more properties are we going to connect that we don't know could connect without us knowing it? And how is that going to impact our moratorium when we look at flow, when we keep getting these properties that have laterals but are not accommodated, are not recorded in our list of not connected?
Well, how would we gather that data if we don't know it's there to begin with?
Well, the sewer department knows what laterals exist.
Does it?
I would like to think so.
But didn't you just suggest we don't know that's a lateral?
Well, I can tell you, it's there. If this one on 28 Nelson does not show on the maps. The one on Acorn show on the maps.
I'm just puzzled, how would we know that a lateral is or is not there if it doesn't show on our maps?
Well, that's what the issue with Nelson Street, but the Acorn Street, if you go to the town website and look at the utility maps, there are the 2 laterals for Acorn Street, but they're not on my master list of not connected that I got from the sewer department.
I see your point.
So how many more are available to be connected, not recorded as having to be done? How many more? So there were 5 of them on Murphy Street that showed the lateral on the maps, but was not listed on our not connected list. So I'm concerned that how many more of these are going to come out of the woodwork?
All of them.
I know, but,
I think we just have to wait till they do.
okay.
And that other property during the Concom meeting, where the guy you had no record of the lateral, but he had,
Here it is. You tell me, I can't read it.
no, but I'm saying that he insinuated that it was the original that he was
Oh,
given.
no, he had a copy. He had a
Okay,
yellow,
all right.
he had the yellow.
All
The
right.
white one is still in the sewer department in the original, so he was given a
copy.
duplicate. But it just, and then I come along and I'll carry this under 48 hours, because I came across a new one. Okay,
Okay. As I said, it sounds like it's a manpower issue in trying to reconcile the data, and when one comes up, we'll have to make sure that the documents are updated, but how to know that there is one out there that's not recorded, just by chance. That's what it seems like to me.
it seems to me, I mean, maybe because I have access to some of these properties that are coming before conservation to look for approval for conservation, and of course I will say, well, wait a minute, where's the sewer? And they're saying, hey, we got approval, and I'm saying it's not on my list and whatever, so.
But you have the unique situation in that you have two sources for your data.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, the minutes.
I just wanted to make you aware that our open meeting law requires us to, at the end of a minutes, to list every document that we had in front of us during the meeting. If you take a look at the list, what was the latest one we just approved? December, what was the last one we approved? No, not December 4. Wait a minute.
Number 14?
If you look at the end of December 14th, we're starting to list all the documents that we dealt with. So I just wanted to make sure you're aware that open meeting law required us to do that. So when I'm no longer here and someone else becomes the clerk, I want to make sure you make sure that that's part of our document, is a list of all the documents that we dealt with during the meeting.
We'll make sure our transcriptionist knows that.
She does, and she did it on the December 14th one.
Excellent. And the next one is the open meeting law that you wanted. Is that, you want to comment on that?
We, all of us sewer commissioners, received a response from the Attorney General regarding our open meeting violation. Anybody not get it?
Nope, I think everyone got it.
January 9th, 29, I believe we just need to say that, yes, we are in receipt of a result from the Attorney General regarding an open meeting law complaint, and just that we have it, and we've making steps to make sure our minutes are done timely and filed timely. I believe that was the result of it. It says that, that indicated that the action item is that we were to make sure our minutes were done, that were part of the complaint, and they've been done and filed. So I just wanted to make sure it was in the minutes that we discussed the response from the Attorney General's office.
Very good, thank you. Any comments or questions on that issue? None? In unfinished business, the Fiera, which has been ongoing for some time now, apparently, town administrator wants a document produced probably by Rich Bowen that frees us for any future claims. And he wants that signed document. So
What does it say?
The,
Is it in here? Is it in our packet?
no, because there is no document
Oh.
that we could find that neither Marie or anybody else did. So they've got to create something that releases the claim.
Oh, yeah, we didn't pay a bill.
Yes,
We didn't pay the bill.
He owes for 10,000, we owe him,
Oh.
in settlement, $10,401.
That's the original contract that we reneged on. I just thought we had paid it.
Well,
It's been hanging around for quite a while.
So every once in a while, another email
Why is it
comes.
still hanging around?
he hasn't paid it.
Because we haven't paid it because there's no authorization. They want a release form now. Before we talked about it when we had the workshop with Rich.
Right.
And
You said pay it.
his opinion was you pay it, which was fine, so I turned it all in, and it sat there, and going back and forth or whatever. And so finally, they decided they wanted a release on claim, so that there's no further claims
Whose day
beyond
wants the release?
administration.
So the town administrator wants a release from the contractor.
So that they want them to sign a release of claim. So the claim that they make is the maximum. That's the one, that's the only one allowed.
Well, this is another one of those situations where we didn't approve the contract. It went straight from Guy to the town administrator.
I don't know what happened to it. All I know is I've been talking to the guy for some months. Fortunately, we've had some good conversations with it. But that's where it stands now. It's finally out of our hands from my perspective, fortunately. Okay, under less than 48 hours.
Do we get a superintendent's report before we do the 48-hour one?
Okay. Hello, Mr. Superintendent. Would you like to report, please?
It's only 8:15.
Yes, again, the crew's working very hard on the plant and cleaning and doing the maintenance that we needed to do. We have most of a road now created around our sludge holding tanks so that we can maintain them and clean and have access to all sides of all tanks for inspection purposes and just general housekeeping. We should be getting rid of 2 of the Adler tanks that are costing us $2,000 a month, and we're not even using them. So we cleaned them out, and they should be getting shipped out any day now. As Charlie mentioned, I did pull the trigger on getting Harvey Waste to do the recycling of the drums and totes. The reason for that, we did attempt to, at one point, get the return on the drums. So you pay a fee typically for a drum when the chemical provider gives it to you. Evidently, the drums have been sitting out so long in the sun, they are no longer competent for the chemicals they were to be returned for.
So we lost our deposit.
Precisely. So at that point,
What did they contain?
anything from chlorine to
I mean,
Polymer.
can you just sell them?
I don't
Or
know.
is you just gonna let Harvey handle them?
At this point, we're just gonna let Harvey handle it. We're gonna crush them, recycle them, and
I had 2 of them from the boiler plant, and God, people were jumping to get them.
yeah, I'd be happy to
They're great
do
rain
that.
barrels.
However, I
Exactly.
don't know what kind of authority would be
Well,
allowed to be
it-
say,
it-
hey, town
Yeah, how
people.
clean they must be. They had chemicals.
So,
Yeah, it depends on the chemical.
So most of it was sodium hypochlorite, bleach, and polymer were the big ones. Other than that, again, the crew's been working exceptionally hard. I was happy to hear Wareham Week is considering coming back so they can do a bit of an expose on the people that work there. Because again, I'm not doing the day-to-day work, the crew is, and it's important that they get recognized. Some of them, when I mentioned it to them, want nothing to do with any kind of spotlight, but I think some is deserved. They've been doing some really good projects there, and again, we're making a lot of progress.
Outstanding. Any questions? No? Well, thank you very much, Scott. Then moving on to less than 48 hours.
I got one.
Me too.
Okay, you go first.
Okay.
Me too.
Apparently, some 6 months ago, we ordered a submersible pump. Somehow or other, it got delivered, and Scott's had it in hand, he's touched it and all. But we didn't get an invoice or something. We had the original, but we didn't get subsequent invoices. And they're cleaning up some paperwork, and they find, my gosh, there's an invoice for 35 grand that we owe. We haven't had or received any subsequent invoices, dunning notices or what, but it is sitting out there, so they're trying to close
What's the date?
the books on the original invoice.
Yeah. Last fiscal year?
September 18th, 23 is when it came in. So still in
It's
the
current
same,
year.
still in the same year, current year.
So you're going to go after the company and say, hey, why aren't you, or you,
Well, we have an invoice. I have the invoice here.
has it been paid?
No,
So,
that's what
Have we got the pumps?
Yes.
we have.
so there's no record in accounting for it?
It's a, no.
So it's,
I have received it, and
Put the
I,
invoice in one of the drums.
and the only reason I have it up here, I said, well, okay, they're trying to close everything out, I guess, or whatever.
Yes, she is.
And this is outstanding. We owe them 35 grand. And what I'm suggesting under the less than 38 hours, that we approve the policy of 35 grand for the invoice for Carlson Systems LLC, a submersible pump.
we don't normally approve invoices, do we?
No, I'm just trying to move this along and getting off the books because Marie's
Just confirm
over
that
there.
it hasn't been paid in accounting.
Beg your pardon?
Just confirm that it has not been paid in accounting.
No, it has not. Because we went around,
Is the company
this
still,
just came up a couple days ago.
is the
That's why I
company
put-
still in business?
That's a good question.
They are in business and we're doing business with them and they're awaiting this payment.
Oh, they know it's,
Oh, they're very much aware that they're missing 35,000.
okay, so they're aware that, even though they haven't given us dunning notices.
Checks in the mail.
Yeah.
So
Like
what-
I said, I'm just trying to help them at the office
but
and catch
do-
up.
So we don't have to take any action on it?
We have to approve.
No.
I'm just trying to move it along, as I said.
We'll move it along. Who normally signs our invoices?
I do.
There you go.
Move it.
I mean, we don't
Scott's the co-signer of them.
we don't see your weekly warrant.
I'm trying to help Marie out. She was trying to straighten this out, and no one else had any paperwork, because she suddenly discovers it, and it'll have to show up on the regular list, obviously, because there's certain individuals that seems they don't want to go out on a limb. Yeah. But Scott and I will take care of it.
Checks in the
I'll use
mail.
Bernie's credit card.
Ho, 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 ho.
The plant can have a bake sale.
That gift shop's making money, so what the hell? I also have just, you have one, Sandy?
Yeah. I'm in a position to see things coming before us for conservation. Do you know 15 Narrows Road? If you're going down Narrows Road, and just after the shipyard, there is it looks like a shed sitting up there on stilts and stuff like that, and there's usually a camper next to it. They now want to build a house there, connect the sewer line off Narrows, bring it all the way down Narrows and connect it to Oak Hill. Listen, proposed disconnect of existing common sewer line from high-pressure force main. There's no force main on Narrows until you get to Oak Hill. Remove the common line, for the 2-inch force main for house number 15. There's no lateral, there's no nothing, and they want to connect through number 17 and 19 Narrows to 1 Oak Hill. I'm so confused, I don't know what to do with it. I'm going to give you this paperwork. This is the plan. Of course, I don't know how they're ever going to put a house on that very flooded, low area. It's within 200 feet of the Wareham River, and a 4-car parking garage,
In the river.
Huh?
It's in the river.
Yes, it is in the river, a high tide, and that building is surrounded by water.
River on the 18th.
And a 4-car parking area. I'm going to give this to you because I'm very concerned about what this contractor's planning to do with force main when they come to you, because I'm going to have them go to you. when they come before conservation, because I'm not going to, as I said, I get these, and I'm not comfortable ignoring it.
So, I mean, you, when I realized what you were talking about, I'm thinking at a regular high tide, it's underwater.
I know. But, so I'm going down the street, there's nothing on Narrows, there is no lateral there, there's no sewer hookup, and he wants to go through two other houses to get to Oak Hill. So that's my 48, I have nothing more.
Okay, and under unfinished, I've received a request from Hinckley Allen. Doesn't suggest they're attorneys, however, they're asking for public records request of plan for the emergency repairs to Wankinko Avenue Sewer Main Contract 2023-001, Contract 1, and the Water Pollution Control Wankinko Ave Sewer Repair Contract 2023-02, Contract 2.
Contract 2 must be from Bayview to Murphy.
Yeah, I think the
That's
second half of it.
the ARPA, or the other funding that Derek has found.
But he's looking for the printouts of it. I'm going to confirm that, what I have is what they're looking for.
Oh, one more thing. Did anybody watch the planning meeting on Monday night?
No, what was on?
Our building inspector denied the project for the clarifier and Headworks, denied it.
Say what? Who's presenting it?
Who was the guy from, whoever he was not prepared to face a planning board to say that we must review it to talk about lighting, increase in traffic, parking, line of sight from neighbor, all those things that planning must go through to approve a building thing like the clarifiers. It all started with they needed 9 more parking places, which is why the project was denied by the building inspector. They needed 10? And so they denied it, which means they brought it to planning. Now, you tell me what planning is going to do with lighting, increased traffic flow. That has nothing to do, it's the building of a clarifier on a piece of land already owned and disturbed at the plant. So I was extremely upset that, what else did they want to do? What's that? They wanted the town to do how much money for a plan? No. They wanted the town to put money in some type of fund that would be used, 53G, for this project, for the town to do a 53G.
Now, GHG's been hired to do all that
What's a
process.
53G?
It means the town has to put money aside to make sure the project is done and completed correctly.
The town has to put the money aside?
That's what the planning board said. That's why I'm so upset as the town.
The town has to put the money aside so that the sewer plant can put the clarifiers in.
And could guarantee we finish
And
it.
guarantee that it's finished and finished correctly. That's why I'm very upset what happened at the planning board Monday night. Since when does the town put up a 53G account for its own projects? And why do they have to approve line of sight for a clarifier,
Who brought
lights?
this to the planning board?
That was my question, that's my
I think it was
question,
who's doing the work? Who's our who's our builder? GHD.
Yes, they're not even in town.
I don't know who the guy was. I didn't hear
It wasn't
his...
Mark?
No one I knew. And there was no question he was over his head. Plus, the planning board chair was not there. The vice chair was on Zoom, so he couldn't be the chair. And so they had another person becoming a chair, and it was quite clear.
Tell them come by the coffee shop and we'll straighten it out.
So one of the people suggested that maybe next time they do this, someone from the sewer commissioners sit and help with the discussion of the project. But it was, if you have a chance, take a look at the planning board meeting from Monday night. and listen to what was discussed. I mean,
Well, how the
Traffic-
hell they even got on their agenda without us knowing it?
The project as submitted requires a site plan review. That's the problem.
because
Indeed,
it,
I agree with you.
because it didn't have enough
It's just
parking
We
places.
never knew about it, though. The ones that were, you know,
Parking places. Parking places
Places.
for creation of a clarifier and traffic study. How many more cars will come in and out of the sewer plant because of a clarifier?
Both of them.
Yeah, all,
Is,
well, not to
Is it-
clarify, but the headworks obviously would generate attention.
but the headworks is not, the headworks is not being a new construction, it's being updated. It's the clarifier that's going to dig a hole in the ground. So anyway, so I just wanted to make sure you were aware that our project is on now planning board table. Too bad they can't afford it, they can't allow an exception,
Don't have a
because they
solar-
didn't have enough parking places.
Don't they have a solar field or something they gotta?
I'm sorry I listened, I really am. It was a tough going to bed that night, I was so upset.
I'm just aghast.
Yes, I mumbled and spitted, and
where was Alan?
Alan told me he was sleeping. I'm sorry, that was my, I'm done. I make a motion, we adjourn at 8.
One more thing. If we are going to start this queue for when the moratorium relaxes, I think we ought to discuss how we're going to work it. I don't want to try and do it now because I think it's a little bit more too involved. But if we take like Bob, he's looking for 800 gallons. And if we free up 1,200 gallons, do we give it to him or do we do it to these larger projects? You know, when we form this queue, do we do it by gallons or first come, first serve, or how are we going to handle the queue? I just think we ought to give it some thought and discuss it possibly at the next.
Our next meeting, we're gonna start a combination of meeting and workshops. And the criteria for lifting the moratorium or making exceptions will be a principal discussion. And I think in order to do this wisely, because there's going to be a lot of demands placed on us, that we should establish a criteria that is reasonable, has equity, and we're comfortable with.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we should probably get a list of all the homes, get a list of all the ones that were denied because they wanted to add a bedroom.
Because we have to stay,
But I thought you said that there weren't any. I thought you said we didn't have anything on the queue.
We don't formally have anything, but discussing it with the staff, they're saying how this one person who was bringing in her elderly mother for a bedroom was denied. So I don't know how many more of them out there that never made it to us because they wanted to add a one bedroom. Sorry.
and that unfortunately is a serious issue, because we don't know who is out there that might have been reasonable to consider as an exception, but
So then when we have the discussion, we ought to figure out some way of reaching out to these people and tell them
Maybe they have a,
apply
li-
or get on the queue or do something in that fact.
Yeah.
We'll work these kinds of things out at the workshop then.
yeah. See, we don't have an unlimited number of gallons. We're pumping 1.2, let's say, and our max is 1.5. Well, there's only 3 to 4 million gallons in there, 300,000 gallons in there. And that can go very quickly. You get some of
Well,
these big projects.
that's exactly my point.
Yeah,
Do we do lots of small projects? Or do we do something that would be more important to the town, that would be large gallons but increase the tax base? You know, these are the kinds of things we've got to discuss at this workshop so that we come up with some sort of a.
and in combination with that, we have to also consider how we're going to expand our capability with hand in hand, because as I said, we have a finite number of gallons.
Well, there's a good chance we're going to make our 10% of our 40B, which will give us a 2-year moratorium on big projects.
Only 2 years.
Only
I thought
two.
we were closer than that,
But
though.
on the 40Bs, do we get any say? Or they just stuff down our throat?
No, down our
They're
throat.
down our throat.
They jump to the head of the queue regardless of how much.
Yeah.
The only thing we can do is restrict, or make restrictions on how they send it to us, put all the filters on their end, and that's up.
And we have minimal control in that regard, because once they qualify, then they go to the planning board. And that's usually where most of your restrictions are imposed.
Oh, so they'll want lighting and parking.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, you stole Sandy's thunder.
Second.
Second.
Motion made and
The
seconded.
time, please, 8:35?
There's no discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? It's a vote. Thank you, everyone.